Hey everyone, so I am theory crafting today. So I recently wanted to challenge myself to make a deck that can work very well with X Antibody Protoform. So basically, this is a new X Antibody option that we're going to get in EX5. I like this option a lot. Um, so basically, if it's hidden security, then you add this card to your hand. Um, Main effect, one of your Digimon without X antibody in its Digivolution cards may Digivolve into a Digimon card with the X antibody trait in your hand, with the Digivolution cost reduced by 1. If you do, place this card as its Digivolution card. And then while you have a Digimon, you can use this card ignoring the color requirements. Um, its inheritable effects, all turns. When this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effect from this Digimon's Digivolution cards, return one Digimon card to the hand and place one X antibody at the top of your security stack. So this is a very good effect. So basically, if you want to Digivolve into an X antibody Digimon, and then you use this, then you just reduce the Digivolution cost by 1. So if you're going from level 3 to a level 4 X antibody Digimon, you just use this and then reduce the cost by 1. So that's pretty simple enough. Then this goes into the Digivolution cards of that Digimon. And then this effect, when it would leave play in some way, then you basically just put this card or a different X antibody card technically, but it's like has to be named X antibody. But there are some ways around it. But usually, you just put this card into your security stack, and then you add one Digimon card from the source of that Digimon leaving play to your hand. So basically, it's almost like a pseudo recovery, and you get to recur some cards to your hand. So I thought this is a pretty awesome card. I want to build a deck around it if possible. And initially, I tried to go with a black base. I was using Yuji Masuya from BT8. When one of your black Digimon attacks, you can suspend Yuji to slide an X antibody trait card under that Digimon. So I was thinking how that might work well with X antibody protoform. So it could work, but I am putting that idea on the back burner for now. I want to focus more on building a stack, but then also making this card useful in a deck where I'm trying to go very top end heavy, finishing the game with my level 6, possibly level 7. So I want to, instead of rookie rushing, I want to try to put this in a deck that uses a single stack. And I decided on using a Garurumon deck. So this idea, so it might look a bit strange, but there's like very specific reasons why I'm using the Digimon that I'm currently having in this deck. So Tsunamon, possibly one of the better eggs for the deck. Tsunamon BT5, your turn effect. While this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, it gets 1000 DP. So it's arguable that this is good. Partially, I'm using Tsunamon just because I want to have a Tsunamon, so then this Gabumon can Digivolve for 0 if I need it to Digivolve. Or just also having a blue egg, so then Gomamon X or Gabumon X can also Digivolve for 0. But I did also consider running Bukamon. Bukamon from BT14. Your turn effects while your opponent has no Digimon with equal or more Digivolution cards than this Digimon gains jamming. So I had considered running Bukamon. Bukamon is not a bad card to run, especially because some of these level 5 Garurumons want to swing, unsuspend swing. So having jamming is not bad. But right now I'm debating between Tsunamon or the Bukamon. The benefit to having the Tsunamon is just that this Gabumon X antibody can Digivolve for 0. But I might experiment with this Bukamon especially, just to see how that jamming works out with the stack. Okay, so the rookies I'm running, I'm not running any regular Gabumon cards. So with the Gabumon X Antibody cards, they are able to Digivolve over Gabumon regular for 0 memory, but I don't really need to Digivolve over regular Gabumon. There's still like 3 cost rookies to play anyways, and then they can just all Digivolve for 0 off of Sunomon. So just basically, I'm treating them just as I would regular rookies. So I'm not running them with Gabumon. I would just play them in lieu of Gabumon. So Gabumon X Antibody BT9 on play. Reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, and 1 X Antibody among them to your hand. So what's cool about the rookies that I selected is that you can search for any of your Digimon with this Gabumon X Antibody. So it has X Antibody. Wait, no. Oh, no, I'm sorry. No, this search is for Garurumon or X Antibody. So this, unfortunately, cannot search for the rookies. But this can search for any of your level 4s or higher. And it can also search for your options. So it has pretty good searchability. The only thing that I can't search for are the rookies. This Gabumon X Antibody on play, reveal the top 4 cards of your deck. Add 2 cards of Garurumon or X Antibody in their names among them to your hand. So this, I believe, is the one that can search for any of your Digimon or your options. So all of your Digimon have either Garurumon in name or X Antibody in name. And because these options, X Antibody Protoform and X Antibody, have X Antibody in name, you are also able to search for them too. So this is just a pretty solid card to just on play, because you can basically search for everything in your deck minus these 6 tamers. So this is pretty awesome. So if you add a card to your hand, then you trash 1 card in your hand, but the benefit of just looking at the top 4 cards of your hand of your deck, adding 2 of them to your hand, and then you just like trash 1, it's such a good benefit. You trash what you don't need, and if you trash the cards selectively, then it will help you with your Garurumon X Antibody later. So yeah, this is just good for trashing your level 3, level 4, level 5, level 6, possibly level 7, and then this will help you set up for Garurumon X Antibody later. Oh, also inheritable. All turns once per turn when this Digimon with Garurumon or Omnimon in its name would be deleted in battle by returning 2 non-Digi Egg cards from your trash to the bottom of the deck. Prevent that deletion. So it has like a pseudo jamming already built in, and it helps you if you do mill yourself that way. So even if you don't set up for Garurumon X Antibody, just getting cards in your trash will help with its inheritable later on anyways. Gomon X Antibody on play, reveal top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with the Sea Beast, Plesiosaur, Beastkin, or X Antibody trait among them to your hand. Return the rest to the bottom of the deck. So all of your Digimon have Beastkin or X Antibody in their trait, except for this level 4 Garurumon. It's just a beast. So Gomamon is less powerful than Gabumon X Antibody in the way that this can search for everything except your tamers. This can search for everything except for your tamers and that level 4 Garurumon. So it's like slightly less powerful in this deck, but it is still very strong. It's inheritable when attacking until the end of your opponent's turn, while if your opponent's Digimon with as many or fewer Digivolution cards as this Digimon can't attack. So this is also a very good inheritable. Okay, so this is probably the best rookie lineup that I'm thinking for the deck. If possible, this one should be the one that you don't on play as much. Probably this one could be like the Digivolving Digimon that you want to focus on, but I'm not quite sure yet because this one also doesn't have inheritables. But I'm going to build this deck when it comes out. So this inheritable is very good on the Gabumon X, but it is also the same inheritable as the Garurumon X Antibody. So if, for example, you have this Gabumon X in your hand, this Garurumon X antibody in your hand, this Gabumon X in your hand, and you need to digivolve something, I probably would digivolve this Gabumon X onto the egg, and then save this Gabumon X to be hard played, just so that I can search for more cards. And because I know if I already have this in my hand, for example, I would just digivolve this onto that Gabumon X later. Then this way I can still get that inheritable, but still got the maximum benefit for searching. So this Garurumon is nice in my opinion. I mostly chose this one because of its inheritable. So when attacking, once per turn, draw 1. It digivolves from Gabumon for 2 cost, or from level 3 blue for 2 cost, but all of your level 3s are blue. So even on Gomamon X, it can digivolve for 2. When digivolving, if you have a tamer with Matashita in its name, draw 1. If you don't have a tamer with Matashita in its name, you may play 1 tamer card with Matashita in its name from your hand with the cost reduced by 3. So basically, if you have a mat, then you draw 1. If you don't have a mat, they can play 1 from your hand for 3 less cost. So this is just honestly good for the deck. I like the draw power. This is probably the main reason why I want this as the Garurumon in my deck. But it's also nice if you do get to play out a mat for free, or technically reduce cost by 3. So this Garurumon X antibody, it has an okay inheritable. All turns when this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name and would be deleted in battle, you may trash 2 cards of the same level in this Digimon's Digivolution cards to prevent that deletion. It digivolves for 0 from Garurumon. So it's like, okay. I mostly just chose this because it's the other Garurumon X that we have aside from EX5 Garurumon X. So it's like, okay. It digivolves for 2. And I will explain why I'm including this in the deck, even if it's like okay, not that great. But I will explain that in a second. Garurumon X Antibody, EX5. So this one is very good. Digivolves from Garurumon cost 0. If you don't digivolve from Garurumon, and then you digivolve from purple or blue level 3 instead, it costs 3. When digivolving, draw 2, then trash 2 cards in your hand. If Garurumon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, gain 1 memory. So if you do end up digivolving over Garurumon, it will cost a net 2. No. It will cost a net -1 because it digivolves for 0 and then gain 1. So it costs a net -1. You gain that 1 memory. But I am also running 6 X antibody option cards at least at the moment. So you have a very high chance of, even if you are digivolving on your level 3s, it will cost less. It will gain you 1 memory and then possibly reduce 1 memory. So you can go from your level 3 to possibly this for like 4 memory. But I will explain that combo in a bit. And of course, the inheritable is the same inheritable as the Gabumon X. So this Garurumon X Antibody from EX5 digivolves from Garurumon cost 1. Digivolves from level 4 blue or purple for 4. When digivolving by trashing 2 cards in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if Garurumon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, you may return 1 Digimon card with Garurumon or X Antibody in its name from your trash your hand. So it would be good if you were to digivolve this from a Garurumon, but it's also okay. I did build this deck, so then it would be still okay. If you don't have your regular pieces, and you just go straight from level 4 to level 5 X Antibody, for example. But it's good if you trash cards in your hand, then you can set up for the Garurumon X Antibody. Or you can just set up for the inheritables from the Garurumon X Antibody level 4 or the Gabumon X Antibody level 4. So basically just trashing more cards will help you in the late game. Either by helping you to prevent the Garurumon from being deleted in battle, or just so they can remove things with Garurumon X. When attacking, if this Digimon has Garurumon or Omnimon in its name, by trashing one card in your hand, unsuspend this Digimon. So just the trashing effect is also very good. I'm wondering if I should bump this up to 4 copies, but I'm running this at 3 currently, just because I want to make space for this one extra copy of Garurumon X. This is probably the best Garurumon that we can put in this deck. So I'm putting this at 3 copies. When Digivolving, draw 1. So just getting the extra draw power, but the inheritable one attacking once per turn. If you have 8 or more cards in your hand, gain 1 memory. So just gaining the memory, I think that it would be helpful. It's probably the most helpful effect in my opinion. So this is where Garurumon limited to 1. Even if it weren't limited to 1, I would run this in lower numbers. Just because when attacking once per turn, if this Digimon has a Garurumon Digivolution card, unsuspend this Digimon. So I'm not building this deck to focus mainly on early swings. It's okay at early swings, but I'm not building it in the more traditional way where you have more protection early. Most of this protection is probably later on. So I don't really want to swing too much with this card early. And also, it has to have Garurumon specifically as a Digivolution card. So Garurumon X Antibody, level 4, will not count. Since there's fewer Garurumons in my deck, this card, I don't want to run too many of it anyways, like even if it weren't limited. So this is just good at 1, just in case you need that extra poke for game. But otherwise, I still think that this is the better Garurumon for this deck. But this is good. While you have 8 or more cards in your hand, this Digimon gains security attack +1. So even if you don't use it for the poking, like you could use it for poking if you need it, but even if you just keep this as a Digivolution source for your level 6 or for your level 7, then you can get security attack +1. So this is the Garurumon X that I'm still debating about. I don't know if I should remove this entirely and then just bump Garurumon X from EX5 up to 4 copies. But it's nice to try this out when I get the cards. Digivolve 0 from Garurumon. When Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon. Then if Garurumon or X Antibody is in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, return one of your opponent's level 4 or lower Digimon to its owner's hand. So this can be useful at poking too. So this one can poke once, twice. This one can poke once, twice. I mean, I guess this one can also, like, you have to poke before. But I think that this one's okay. I'm questioning if it is better to keep this one in the deck or if I should just bump this up to 4, but I will figure that out when I get the actual cards. Okay, on to the Garurumon X Antibodies. So I think that the Garurumon X Antibodies have better effects than the regular Garurumons. So even if I'm not running Garurumon regular, it's still just more worthwhile for me to just go straight into the Garurumon X Antibodies because they have very strong effects. And because I'm running these X Antibody cards, I don't really need to run regular Garurumon X. I mean, regular Garurumon. Okay. So the BT9 one, I think, has a less significant effect than the EX5 Garurumon X. So I'm running this at 2, the other one at 4. So Garurumon X, when Digivolving, unsuspend this Digimon and it gains blocker until the end of your opponent's turn. Your turn, when this Digimon becomes unsuspended, if Garurumon or X Antibody is in its Digivolution cards, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to its owner's hand. So you kind of do want to poke. Now that I'm thinking about it, yeah, you kind of do want to poke. So this is still in lower numbers, but so are Garurumon X and Garurumon. So these are the cards that kind of you really want to poke with. But if you do poke with them, then Digivolving into this, you can return your opponent's lowest level Digimon to their hand. So it's like, okay, cool. So it's not that reliable, but these are in lower numbers, so I think that's okay. Melgarurumon X EX5, blocker already. When Digivolving, if Melgarurumon or X Antibody are in this Digimon's Digivolution cards, all of your opponent's Digimon gain. When attacking, lose 4 memory until the end of your opponent's turn. So it's like Ice Wall, but instead of losing 2 memory, they lose 4 memory. And it is a global effect, so it affects all of their Digimon during their next turn. When attacking by returning 1 Digimon card from your trash to the bottom of your deck, delete one of your opponent's Digimon with the same level as a returned card. So I do like this card because it has blocker just in case you need a body on the field to block attacks. Or, just Digivolving, you can stall your opponent for a turn. They probably can't close out the game if they have to clear more than 1 check. But yeah, this can help you stall the opponent. But even if you're attacking from your setup from earlier by just trashing your Digimon into the trash, you can set up this Digimon so that when you attack with it, if you want to get rid of a level 5 Digimon that your opponent has, you just slide a level 5 from your trash to the bottom of your deck, and then you delete your opponent's level 5. Or if you need to delete a level 4, you just do that for level 4, etc. So just running these purple Garurumon cards will help you to set up your trash. So it does require you to just plan some things out, but again, because you have so much card search, so this looks at 4, discard 1. This you draw 1 for Digivolve, draw 2 more than you trash 2, so you do look at many cards before you trash them. And then this one you can still choose whichever 2, but you don't search when you Digivolve. But there is some draw power in this deck. There is some searchability, just discarding selectively which ones you want to discard. So I think that it's pretty easy to set up for Melgarurumon X to just have several Digimon of different levels in your trash. So then when you attack, you can delete something. Omnimon X Antibody, if you want to close out the game. When a Digimon of X Antibody in its Digivolution cards would Digivolve into this Digimon, reduce the Digivolution cost by 2. So I honestly think that by the time that you are at your level 6, then you will have one of these X Antibody cards under it. So probably this will cost 5 memory. When Digivolving, return all of your opponent's Digimon with the highest level to the bottom of their owner's deck in any order. When Digivolving, when attacking once per turn by placing X Antibody or 1 level 6 card from this Digimon's Digivolution cards at the bottom of its owner's deck, reveal all of your opponent's security cards and trash one of them. Place a rest in your opponent's security stack face down. Then your opponent shuffles their security stack. So just in case, you stalled out your opponent and this kind of has low DP and they have something that you still need to remove, and even if you are in the situation where this when attacking effect will not help you to remove it, you can just always go into Omnimon X Antibody just to bottom deck their Digimon. I think it's bottom deck. Yeah. So honestly, if you are in a situation where you have this and they can't proceed, then you can just go into Omnimon X. So let's talk about the synergies with these tamers. So Coda Demoto, it's kind of strange seeing a black tamer in this mostly blue deck. Start of your turn, if you have 2 or less memory, set your memory to 3. So a memory setter is just good in basically any deck. So even if Coda is not blue, Coda still serves the same function as a memory setter in this deck, because Coda is a memory setter. Okay, so on play, reveal top 4 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with X antibody and its traits among them to your hand. So basically, you can search for almost all of your cards using this Coda Demodo. You just can't search for this Matashita or the regular Were Garurumons or the regular Garurumons. But basically, if you play Coda, you get a memory center into play, and then you can just basically get a +1 draw. So Coda is just good. You look at 4 cards too, so you dig deep, and then you choose which X antibody trait card to add to your hand. So Coda is just good in this deck, just so that you can search for the pieces that you need at that specific time. Matashita. So there is a very interesting interaction, and I will highlight the interaction with Matashita. So on play, reveal the top 3 cards of your deck. Add 1 card with Gabumon or Garurumon and its name among them to the hand. So since you are basically playing a Garurumon line, you have so many Gabumon in name or Garurumon in name cards to be able to add to your hand. Your turn, when your Digimon's effect adds a card to your hand by suspending this tamer, gain 1 memory. So there are many effects in this deck that from your Digimon add a card to your hand. So even if you have this on the field and then you just like play Gabumon X antibody, then by revealing cards and you add 1 to your hand, then you can suspend this, effectively making this a net 2 cost. This also the same thing. This becomes a net 2 cost. This becomes a net 2 cost. This effect, technically, when you have the Matashita out, and then when Digivolving, this effect allows you to draw 1. So then this basically becomes a Digivolve for 1. This basically, there's like so many cards in this deck that they Digivolve, and then they have like this effect that add cards to your hand. So the Digivolution card cost for many cards is reduced by 1. Or even if you play these Searchers and you add a card to your hand, then the cost basically is reduced by 1. Basically. And then, this is why I kind of like this Were Garurumon EX1, because it does draw 1. So then it does have this effect where you add a card to your hand, and then it is cheaper to go into. But I think that the effect that I really want to highlight is how Matashita can combo with X Antibody Protoform. So, the inheritable of X Antibody Protoform, when this Digimon would leave the battle area other than by your effects from this Digimon's Digivolution cards, return 1 Digimon card to the hand and place 1 X Antibody at the top of your security stack. So, if people don't know, the inheritable effects of a Digimon are treated as part of that Digimon's effects. So that Digimon owns all the effects of the inheritables that it has. And I can cite probably the EX2 Impmon ruling. That's probably the most well-known ruling for this. So just in case you don't believe me, I'm going to cite the EX2 Impmon. So it has this effect. When this card is trashed from your deck, if it wasn't trashed by EX2 039 Impmon's effect, you may trash up to 3 cards from the top of your deck. So there was this issue where, people won't on-play this all the time for obvious reasons. They will Digivolve this onto Demimeramon or onto a Pagumon, for example, and then swing at security, crash, get deleted, and then use the effect to mill themselves. So if they were on ST6 Pagumon, and then they milled themselves, on deletion trash the top 2 cards of your deck, and then they milled another EX2 Impmon, then it was ruled that you can't activate the effect of that Impmon because although the effect came from the inheritable of Pagumon, the inheritable was currently possessed or owned by the EX2 Impmon that crashed. So basically, the Impmon that you just trashed was trashed via the effect of the EX2 Impmon that crashed into security. So basically, in a nutshell, the inheritable effects of Digimon are owned by the Digimon, and it is a Digimon effect. So, with that ruling in mind, when the X Antibody Protoform inheritable adds a Digimon card to your hand, Matt Ashita can suspend, because even though the inheritable effect came from X Antibody Protoform, since it was a Digimon effect that added a card to your hand, you can suspend the Tamer to gain 1 memory. So that is very cool. Just in case you need it. But there's just so much synergy in this deck that you can add cards to your hand with your Digimon effects. This one is able to do that. This one's able. Okay, so there's like not many on the top end, but definitely the smaller end is able to, and so is this X Antibody Protoform. So even if you have this under one of your top end pieces and then that Digimon adds a card to your hand later, they can still suspend Matt. So that is just pretty neat. I just want to highlight that. But yeah, this seems like a fun deck. It seems like it would do well. I don't need to focus on adding like the regular pieces in, like Gabumon and Garurumon, just because I don't need the protection effects from being able to take out 2 Digimon of the same level, just because these new purple cards have the protection effects where you can just take out 2 cards from your trash, putting them at the bottom of the deck to prevent deletion from battle. So it's like, okay, cool. I don't really need too many protection effects. And then if my goal isn't to swing with my level 5s as much, my goal is to swing with my level 6 more, then I don't need too many protection effects anyways. So I think that this is a pretty good balance. And I'm just running so many X Antibody cards just so then I can search for basically anything. There are some cards that can't be searched by some cards, but basically almost everything in this deck is searchable by almost all the searchers. I think that this card is just good just because since my goal isn't to go from level 3 to level 3 to level 4 to level 4 to level 5 to level 5, I'm just going 3 to 4 to 5 to 6. That's like the main goal. So even if I were to digivolve into Garurumon X, it would cost 3 if I go from level 3. But, just because I want to rely more on having X Antibody cards, if I have this X Antibody card underneath one of my Digimon, it will digivolve for 3, and then I'll gain 1 memory back. Even if I don't have Garurumon because I have X Antibody in trait, then I will gain 1 memory. So it comes in for a net 2. If I instead digivolve with this X Antibody, then it will come in for a net 1, because I will go from my level 3 to an X Antibody card, reducing costs by 1. This digivolves for 2, and then I gain 1 memory back. So I really like this card, just because it doesn't reduce the cost before you digivolve into it. It gains you the memory after you digivolve. And since this, you use this option to digivolve into a higher level X Antibody, or at least in this deck. Technically, you can go into the same level. But if you use this option, then it would reduce cost by first, go under that Digimon, it would digivolve into this, and then you gain 1 memory. I like this because it's not like, oh, when digivolving over a Digimon with X antibody in its sources, then reduce cost by 1 or gain 1 memory. It doesn't say that. It's just saying that after you digivolve, then it checks if there's X antibody in its sources, and then you gain 1 memory. So I just really like how this X antibody protoform combos very well with Garurumon X. So even if I don't digivolve from Garurumon, I can just go easily from a level 3 into Garurumon X and not pay too much memory for it. And this is also why I do want just another Garurumon X, just in case, if I do need to rookie rush my opponent, I still can. So the goal is, just go into one of these, just play one of these. It's on the field. Next turn, you use X Antibody Protoform, Digivolve for a net 1 into Garurumon X Antibody, and then you just like swing at your opponent for like that chip damage if you need it. And then when this is probably deleted, then you just basically add the rookie back to your hand, and then you place this card on the top of your security stack, so it's like a pseudo recovery. But cool, basically you have this rookie in play, you digivolve for a net 1, you recover, you add the rookie back to your hand, so it's like 1 cost recovery, you get the rookie back. You can play that rookie back. You do lose a body if that happens, but I think that it's still very good. Technically you can count it as 4 cost recovery if you consider you lost a rookie, but it's still very good. If you have that Mashita out, then you can suspend Mashita. So it's just a cool thing that you can do with this deck. So you can rookie rush with this X antibody card to just recover and stall out the game, get all chip damage, add the rookie back to hand, suspend Matt, gain 1 memory. It's just a fun interaction to have. So that's why instead of running 6 Garurumons and 4 Garurumon X's, I'm running 4 Garurumons, 6 Garurumon X's, just mainly for that interaction, really. And, if this does digivolve off of Garurumons, then cool. I do have this effect that I can use, or even if it doesn't digivolve off of Garurumon, if you later go into WereGarurumon and then WereGarurumon X, you can still use this effect to save it from being deleted in battle. So it's like cool enough to include. But yeah, I think that this is well-rounded. These search for a majority of your deck. This helps you to draw when attacking as an inheritable, possibly cheese out a Matt Ashita for 0 cost, or draw 1 if you already have a Matt Ashita in play. This is for that combo that I was talking about, like your level 3s. Just digivolve into this using the Protoform, swing, crash, get your level 3 back, basically recover 1. So it's just a pretty cool interaction to have. This one is just good at helping you to advance through your stack. So just looking at more cards, so you have more cards that you want to select from. So you draw for Digivolve, draw 2, then you trash 2. But just doing that, you can look at more cards, so you can find your level 5, your level 6s, your level 7s, any cards that you really need to advance your stack. And then just trashing it. No, not trashing it. Trashing the other cards that you don't need. So then you can set up for Garurumon X, or even just its own inheritable. And then you just gain 1 memory if you have X antibody. And most likely, you probably will have X antibody. But yeah, this is what I'm kind of thinking. The only change that I might do, that I'm kind of thinking right now, is bump WereGarurumon X to 4, bump WereGarurumon X BT9 to 0. So basically replace this with another 4th copy of EX5 WereGarurumon X. And then I'm also thinking of taking out 1 Coda and then putting in 1 Matt Ashita, just because Matt Ashita is very good for this deck. So something like this, it looks good, and more chances with this Garurumon if I need it. But just the effects in this deck that from your Digimon add a card to your hand. There's just so many of those. So this is probably very good for the deck. But yeah, this is what I'm kind of thinking for a deck that focuses on a single stack, but still takes a lot of advantage from X Antibody Protoform. So one, if you choose to go up the stack, then it's still useful because you can reduce the cost of one Digivolution by 1. So that's still pretty good. So if you're going from level 3s to one of your level 4 X antibodies, then it costs 1 less. Or if you're going from your level 4s to your level 5 X antibodies, then it costs 1 less. Or even if you go from your Garurumon into Garurumon X, because it would cost 1, it would cost 0 because of that. So it's just a neat option. So even if you still want to build the stack up, you can, and it still provides value for you. But if you want instead to use this to rookie rush your opponent, get some cheap hits in, and then basically recover that onto the top of your security, you can also do that. So I built this deck so then it's versatile enough so you can go tall, or you can rush your opponent if you want, but still also focusing mainly on X Antibody Protoform, secondarily on regular X Antibody. So just having X Antibody in your sources, if you build up, so you can still get the benefits of gaining 1 memory, or adding a Digimon with Garurumon or X Antibody in its name to your hand, or bouncing a level 4 lower Digimon to hand, or just bouncing your opponent's Digimon with the lowest level to hand, or you can just take advantage of the effects that require you to have like the base Digimon under the X Antibody version, but you don't need to run the base Digimon because I'm just running so many of these X Antibody cards. So to me, it just makes sense that if the X Antibody forms have strong effects, that I can just omit the base forms entirely. In the case of the level 6, the level 5, this is probably still the better one. But in most cases, I can omit the base form, or at least use them in reduced numbers, and still gain the maximum benefit. But yeah, I am excited for this deck. I really want to break X Antibody Protoform, and I'm going to experiment with more ways on how to make this option very good, because it seems like such a great option. I don't think that people are using it as much, but I haven't also been actively looking at people using it, but no one has been really talking about this, and I think that this is good. So I will probably build this deck, and I will let you all know in, I think, BT15 format how this is going.